Menu. Honey for the heart, just another WordPress.com site. Tafseer of Surah Al-Waqia ayat 1-96 end. Surah Al-Waqia. The Inevitable, Chapter 56, which was revealed in Makkah. The virtues of Surah Al-Waqia. Abu Ishaq reported from Ikrimah from Ibn Abbas that Abu Bakr said, O Allah's Messenger, you are becoming gray. The Messenger, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, replied. Hud Chapter 11 Al-Waqia 56 Al-Mursalat 77 Amma 78 and Ida Ash-Shamsu Kuwarat 81 have made me gray. At-Tirmidhi collected this hadith and said, Hassan Garib. Tufat al-Awadi 9, 184. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. 1. When the Waqia occurs. 2. There is not, for its occurrence, Qadiba. 3. Bringing low some, exalting others. 4. When the earth will be shaken with a terrible shake. 5. And the mountains will be powdered to dust. 6. So that they will become floating dust particles. 7. And you all will be in 3 groups. 8. So those on the right, how fortunate will be those on the right. 9. And those on the left, how unfortunate will be those on the left. 10. And those foremost will be foremost. 11. These will be the nearest to Allah. 12. In the gardens of delight. The horrors of the day of resurrection. Al-Waqia, the occurrence, is one of the names of the day of resurrection, because that day is real and will surely come. Allah the Exalted said in other ayat, then on that day shall the Waqia occur. 69. 15 Allah the Exalted said, there is not, for its occurrence, Qadiba. Means, when he commands the day of resurrection to begin, none can stop it from happening or prevent it from beginning. Answer the call of your Lord before there comes from Allah a day which cannot be averted. 42. 47 A questioner asked concerning a torment about to occur, upon the disbelievers, which none can avert. 70. 1-2 And on the day he will say, be, and it is. His word is the truth. His will be the dominion on the day when the trumpet will be blown. All-knower of the unseen and the seen. He is the all-wise, well aware. 6. 73 As for the meaning of Qadiba, Muhammad bin Kab said, it will certainly occur, while Qatada said, it shall not be discontinued, taken back or aborted. At-Tabari 23, 89. Allah's statement, bringing low, exalting, indicates that Al-Waqia lowers some people to the lowest parts of the fire, even if they had been mighty in this life. It also elevates others to the highest grades in the residence of eternal delight, even if they were weak in this life. This was said by Al-Hasan, Qatada and others. At-Tabari 23, 90 Al-Afi reported from Ibn Abbas, bringing low, exalting, it made the near and the far hear it, while Ikrimah said, it lowered, and thus those who were close heard it, and elevated, and thus those in the distance heard it. Ad-Da'ik and Qatada said similarly. Allah said, when the earth will be shaken with a terrible shake. Meaning, it is shaken and moved violently over all of its surface and through its depths. Ibn Abbas, Mujahid, Qatada and others said about Allah's saying, when the earth will be shaken with a terrible shake, it means, violently shaken. At-Tabari 23, 91 Ar Rabi bin Anas said, the earth will be shaken with all that is in it, just as a sifter is shaken with its contents. This is like Allah's saying, when the earth is shaken with its earthquake. 99, 1 And, O mankind, have taqwa of your Lord. Verily, the earthquake of the hour is a terrible thing. 22, 1. Allah said, and the mountains will be powdered to dust, meaning, relentlessly pulverized. This was said by Ibn Abbas, Mujahid, Ikrimah and Qatada and others. At-Tabari 23, 92, 93 Ibn Zayd said, the mountains will become just like Allah described them, a heap of sand poured out. 73, 14. At-Tabari 23, 93. Allah's saying, so that they will become floating dust particles. Abu Ishaq narrated from Al-Harith, from Ali, it will become like the rising dust storm that soon fades away leaving no trace of itself behind. Al-Afi reported from Ibn Abbas about Allah's saying, so that they will become floating dust particles. At-Tabari 23, 94 It describes the rising embers from the fire when it is kindled, but when the embers land, they are extinguished quickly. Ikrimah said, the floating dust particles that the wind scatters all around, while Qatada said, floating particles, like the dry parts of trees that the wind scatters all about. This ayah is similar to several other ayat that indicate that the mountains will be moved from their places, demolished and blown off their bases, becoming like carded wool on the day of resurrection. 3 categories of people on the day of resurrection. Allah's statement, and you all will be in 3 groups. This means that people will be divided into 3 categories on the day of resurrection. Some will on the right of Allah's throne, and they are those who were brought forth from Adam's right side. This category will be given their books of records in their right hand and will be taken to the right side. As Sudi explained that they will comprise the majority of the residents of paradise. Another category is those who will be placed to the left of Allah's throne, and they are those who were brought forth from Adam's left side. This category will be given their books of records in their left hands and will be taken to the left side. They are the residents of the fire, may Allah save us from their actions. A third category is comprised of those who are the foremost and nearest before Allah. They are in a better grade and status and nearer to Allah than those on the right side. They are the chiefs of those on the right side, because they include the messengers, prophets, true believers and martyrs. They are fewer than those on the right side, so Allah said, so those on the right, how will be those on the right? And those on the left, how will be those on the left? And those foremost will be foremost. Allah divides people into these 3 groups upon their death, as indicated by the end of this surah. Allah mentioned them in His statement as well, then we gave the book as inheritance to such of our servants whom we chose. Then of them are some who wrong themselves, and of them are some who follow a middle course, and of them are some who are, by Allah's leave, foremost in good deeds. 35. 32 Muhammad bin Ka'b, Abu Hazra Yaqub bin Mujahid said that, and those foremost will be foremost, is about the prophets, peace be upon them, Al-Qurtubi 17, 199, while as Sudi said that they are the residents of the utmost highs al-Ilayan, in paradise. The meaning of foremost is that they were foremost in performing the acts of righteousness just as Allah commanded them, and march forth in the way to forgiveness from your Lord, and for paradise as wide as the heavens and the earth. 3. 133 And, race with one another in hastening towards forgiveness from your Lord, and paradise the width whereof is as the width of the heaven and the earth. 57. 21 Therefore, those who rush to obey Allah in this life and are foremost in performing acts of righteousness, will be among the foremost believers honored in the hereafter. Verily, the reward is according to the kind of deed, and as one does, so he is judged. So Allah said, these will be the nearest to Allah. In the gardens of delight. 13. A multitude of those will be from the first ones. 14. And a few of those will be from the later ones. 15. They will be on thrones, Madana. 16. Reclining thereon, face to face. 17. Immortal boys will go around them, serving. 18. With cups, and jugs, and a glass of flowing wine. 19. Wherefrom neither Usadon nor Yunzifan. 20. And with fruit that they may choose. 21. And with the flesh of fowls that they desire. 22. And there will be her with wide lovely eyes. 23. Like preserved pearls. 24. A reward for what they used to do. 25. No log evil vain talk will they hear therein, nor any sinful speech. 26. But only the saying of, Salaman, Salaman. The reward of the foremost in faith. Allah states that the foremost of the close believers are a multitude, a crowd among the earlier generations and a few from the latter generations. There is a difference over the meaning of the first generations and the later generations. Some said that the former means earlier believing nations, while the later refers to this ummah. This was reported from Mujahid and al-Hasan al-Basri, in the collection of Ibn Abi Hatim, and this is the preference of Ibn Jarir. At Tabari 23, 98 he considered it supported by the saying of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. We are the later nation, but the foremost on the day of resurrection. Fath al-Bari 11, 526. Ibn Jarir did not mention any other interpretation nor did he attribute this view to anyone else. There is another hadith that could support this meaning. Imam Abu Muhammad bin Abi Hatim recorded that Abu Hurairah said that when these ayat were revealed, a multitude of those foremost will be from the first ones. And a few of those will be from the later ones. This news became hard for the companions of the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. This ayat, a multitude of those will be from the first ones. And a multitude of those will be from the later ones, were revealed. The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, then said, I hope that you will comprise a quarter of the residents of paradise, a third of the residents of paradise. Rather, you are a half of the residents of paradise, and will have a share in the other half. Imam Ahmad also recorded this. Ahmad 2, 391. However, this opinion that Ibn Jarir chose is questionable, rather it is a deficient interpretation. This is because this ummah is the best of all nations, according to the text of the Quran. Therefore, it is not possible that the foremost believers from earlier nations are more numerous than those of in this ummah, the opposite is true. The latter opinion is the correct one, that, a multitude of those will be from the first ones, refers to the earlier generations of this ummah, while, and a few of those will be from the later ones, refers to the latter people of this ummah. Ibn Abi Hatim recorded that As-Sari bin Yahya said that Al-Hasan recited this ayah, and those foremost will be foremost. These will be the nearest to Allah. In the gardens of delight. A multitude of those will be from the first ones. Then he commented, a multitude from the earlier generation of this ummah. Ibn Abi Hatim also recorded that Muhammad bin Sirin commented, a multitude of those will be from the first ones. And a few of those will be from the later ones. They stated, or hoped that they will all be from this ummah. Therefore, these are the statements of Al-Hasan and Ibn Sirin that those foremost in faith are all from this ummah. There is no doubt that the earlier generations of each nation were better than the latter generations. In this pretext, this ayah might include all previous believing nations. In this regard, it is confirmed in the authentic hadith compilations, from more than one root, that the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, "The best people are my generation, then the next generation, then the next generation." Bukhari 36:51. He also said, "A group of my ummah will always remain on the truth and dominant, unharmed by those who fail to support them and those who defy them, until the last hour begins." In another narration, "Until Allah's command comes while they are like this." Bukhari 71, 3116, 3640, 3641. This ummah is more honored than any other ummah. The foremost believers of this ummah are more numerous and hold a higher rank than those of other nations, due to the status of their religion and Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. In a mutawatir hadith, the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, mentioned that 70,000 of this ummah will enter paradise without reckoning. In another narration of this hadith, the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, added, "With each 1,000, another 70,000. In yet another narration, he said, "With every one of them is another 70,000. Allah's statement, on thrones, Madana." Ibn Abbas said, "Woven with gold." At Tabari 23, 99. Similar was reported from Mujahid, Ikrimah, Said bin Jubair, Zayd bin Aslam, Qatada, Ad-Dawk and others. At Tabari 23, 99, 100. Allah said, reclining thereon, face to face, indicating that they will face each other, and none of them will be in the back lines, immortal boys will go around them, who will never grow up, get old or change in shape, with cups, and jugs, and a glass of flowing wine. These cups do not have handles or spouts, while the jugs sometimes do and sometimes do not. All of them, including the glasses, will contain wine drawn from a flowing spring, not from containers that might get empty. Rather, this spring of wine flows freely, wherefrom neither Usadon nor Yunzifan. Meaning, they will never get headaches from this wine nor intoxicated. Rather, this wine does not affect their minds, even though it has a strong and tremendously delightful taste. Ad-Dawk reported from Ibn Abbas, the wine of this life has 4 side effects: it intoxicates, gives headaches, induces vomiting and causes excessive urine. So Allah mentioned the wine of paradise free of these characteristics. Al-Qurtubi 17, 203. Mujahid, Ikrimah, Said bin Jubair, Adia al-Afi, Qatada and As-Suddi said that Allah's statement, wherefrom neither Usadon, means, it does not give them a headache. At Tabari 23, 103, 104. While they said that, nor will they Yunzifan, means that, it does not change their sense of reasoning. At Tabari 23, 104, 105. Allah's statement, and with fruit that they may choose. And with the flesh of fowls that they desire. Meaning, whatever fruits they wish for will be distributed among them. This ayah is a proof that we are allowed to choose the fruits that we prefer and wish to eat. Imam Ahmad recorded that Thabit said that Anas said that the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, liked dreams. A man might have a dream, so he would ask about him if he did not know him, and would like to hear the dream if that man was praised for his good qualities. Once a woman came to him and said, "O Allah's Messenger, I had a dream that I was taken out of Al-Madinah and entered paradise. I heard noise because of which paradise wept. I looked and found so and so, so and so, and she mentioned the names of 12 men whom the Prophet had sent with a military expedition. They were later brought on, in paradise, in the dream, with their wounds still bleeding. It was said, take them to the river Badak or Badak. They were taken to that river and submerged in it, and their faces turned as radiant as the full moon. They were brought a plate made of gold containing green dates. They ate as much of the green dates they wanted to, and whenever they turned that plate around, they would eat from the fruit it contained, as much as they wanted, and I, the woman said, ate with them. Later on, that army sent an emissary to convey the news of the battle, and he said that so and so and so and so died, mentioning the names of the 12 men who were mentioned in the dream. So, Allah's messenger called the woman and again asked her to mention her story, and she did. This is the narration that Abu Ya'la collected, Ahmad 3, 135, and Al-Hafiz ad-Diya, said, this hadith meets the criteria of Muslim. Allah said, and with the flesh of fowls that they desire. Imam Ahmad recorded that Anas said that the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, birds of paradise are like booked camels, species with a long neck, that graze in the trees of paradise. Abu Bakr commented, O Allah's Messenger, surely, these birds must be wonderful. The Messenger, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, those who eat them are more wonderful, and repeated this statement thrice. The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, went on, and I hope that you will be among those who eat from them. Ahmad 3, 221. Only Imam Ahmad collected this hadith using this chain of narration. Allah said, like unto preserved pearls, indicating that they are just as white and pure fresh pearls. We mentioned Allah's statement, as if they were eggs preserved, 37, 49 in Surah As-Safat, chapter 37, and also their description in Surah Ar-Rahman, chapter 55. This is why Allah said afterwards, a reward for what they used to do. Meaning, these delights that we granted them are rewards for the good deeds that they performed in this life. Allah the Exalted said, no log evil vain talk will they hear therein, nor any sinful speech. But only the saying of, Salam and peace. Salam and peace. Closing parenthesis exclamation mark quote. Meaning they will not hear foul or unnecessary speech in paradise. Where they shall neither hear harmful speech nor falsehood. 88, 11 meaning, no foul words are uttered therein. Allah said, nor any sinful speech. Meaning, nor speech that contains foul words, but only the saying of, Salam and peace, Salam and peace. They will greet each other with salam, just as Allah said in another ayah, their greeting therein will be, Salam and peace. 1423 and, as we mentioned, their words will be free from impure and needless speech. 27. And those on the right, how fortunate will be those on the right. 28. They will be among Sidri Makdud. 29. And among Tal Mandud. 30. And in shade Mamdud. 31. And by water flowing constantly. 32. And fruit in plenty. 33. Whose supply is not cut off nor are they out of reach. 34. And on couches, raised high. 35. Verily, we have created them a special creation. 36. And made them virgins. 37. Urub, a trab. 38. For those on the right. 39. A multitude of those will be from the first generation. 40. And a multitude of those will be from the later generations. The reward of those on the right after. Allah mentioned the final destination of those foremost in faith, the nearest to him. He next mentioned the end of those on the right, the righteous believers. Maymun bin Murran said that those on the right side are lesser in rank than the foremost in faith. Allah said, and those on the right, how fortunate will be those on the right. Who are those on the right, what is their condition and what will their final destination be like? Allah next answers this question by saying, they will be among Sidr Makdud. Ibn Abbas, Ikrimah, Mujahid, Ibn al-Awas, Qasima bin Zuhair, as Safer bin Nusair, Al-Hassan, Qatada, Abdullah bin Kathir, as Sudi, Abu Hazra and several others said, the kind without thorns. At Tabari 23, 110 and from Ibn Abbas, it is the one that is laden with fruits. This is also reported from Ikrimah and Mujahid. Similar was also said by Qatada as we mentioned. So it is the one with a full load of fruits without thorns. So it appears that both meanings apply here. The low tree of this life is thorny and carries few fruits. In the hereafter, it is the opposite, it does not have thorns and carries plenty of fruit, the weight of which strains its trunk. Utbah bin Abd as-Sulami said, I was sitting with Allah's Messenger, when a Bedouin came and said, O Messenger of Allah, have you heard about the tree that has more thorns than any other being in paradise, meaning the Tal tree? So Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, for each spot that there was a thorn on it, Allah instead put fruit, similar to a castrated tight-skinned ram, a food having 70 colors, each different than the other. Al-Bath by Ibn Abi Dawud. Allah said, and among Tal Mandud, refers to large thorny shrub that used to grow in the area of Hijaz, Western Arabia. Mujahid said that, Mandud, means, its fruits are piled on top of each other. Allah is reminding the Quraysh of these kinds of trees, since they used to like the shade that the Tal and Sidr provided for them. At Tabari 23, 114. Ibn Abi Hatim recorded that Abu Sa'id said that, Tal Mandud, means, the banana tree. And he Ibn Abi Hatim said, similar is reported from Ibn Abbas, Abu Huraira, Al-Hasan, Ikrimah, Qasima bin Zuhair, Qatada and Abu Hazra. Mujahid and Ibn Zayd said similarly. Ibn Zayd added, the people of Yemen call the banana tree, Tal. At Tabari 23, 113 Ibn Jarir mentioned no other explanation for Tal. Allah said, and in shade Mamdud extended. Al-Bukhari recorded that Abu Huraira said that the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, in paradise, there is a tree that a rider can travel for 100 years under its shade but would not be able to pass it. Recite if you will, and in shade extended. Fath al-Bari 6, 368. Muslim also collected this hadith. Muslim 4, 2175. Imam Ahmad recorded that Abu Huraira said that the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, there is a tree in paradise the shade of which a rider would take 100 years to pass. Recite if you will, and in shade extended. Ahmad 2, 482. Muslim 4, 2175. Al-Bukhari, Fath al-Bari 6, 368 and Abdur Razak 11, 417 collected this hadith. Allah said, and fruit in plenty, whose supply is not cut off nor are they out of reach, indicating that they will have plenty of fruits of various kinds, that which no eye has ever seen, no ear has ever heard of and no heart has ever imagined. As Allah said, every time they will be provided with a fruit therefrom, they will say, this is what we were provided with before, and they will be given things in resemblance. 225. The shape will appear similar, but the taste is different. In the two Sahihs, Sidrat al-Muntaha, the tree in the seventh heaven, is described as, its leaves were like the ears of elephants and its nabir fruits resembled the clay jugs of Hajar. Fath al-Bari 6, 349. The two Sahihs also collected a hadith from Ibn Abbas, who said, the sun was eclipsed and Allah's Messenger led the people in the eclipse prayer. They asked, O Allah's Messenger, we saw you reach out for something while standing in prayer but then you stepped back. He said, I saw paradise and reached out for a cluster of fruit from it. Had I done so, you would have kept eating from it for the remainder of the life of the world. Fath al-Bari 2, 627. Imam Ahmad recorded that Utbah bin Abd as-Sulami said, a Bedouin man came to the Messenger of Allah and asked him about the hod in paradise. The Bedouin asked, does paradise have fruits? The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, yes, and it also has a tree called Tuba. He said something more saying but I could not recall it. The Bedouin asked, does it look like any of the trees that grow in our area? The Prophet said, there is nothing resembling it among the trees in your land. The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, then asked him, have you traveled to Ash-Sham area? The Bedouin said, no. The Prophet said, it looks like a tree that grows in Ash-Sham area and is called al-Jaza, which stands on one stem but its branches grow all around to the fullest extent. The Bedouin asked, how big is the cluster of its fruits? The Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, said, the distance that the crow flies in 1 month without rest. The Bedouin asked, how huge its trunk is? The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him said, if a 4-year-old she-camel that your family owns travels it, it will not completely pass its trunk until its shoulders break from old age. The man asked, does it bear grapes? The Prophet answered in yes. The Bedouin asked, how big are the grapes? The Prophet said, has your father ever slaughtered a ram? The Bedouin answered, yes, and the Prophet asked him, and then he skinned it and gave the skin to your mother and asked her to make a hanging bucket out of it. The Bedouin again said yes and said, this grape would suffice for me and my family. The Prophet, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, agreed and said, yes, and also for the rest of your clan. Ahmad 4, 183. Allah's statement, whose supply is not cut off nor are they out of reach. The supply of these fruits never runs out, winter or summer. Rather, they are always available for those who want to eat from them, forever. Whenever these fruits are desired, they will be available and easy to grasp by Allah's power. Qatada said, nothing will prevent them from reaching out to get these fruits, no branches, thorns or distance. At Tabari 23, 118 we mentioned a hadith before that states that whenever someone takes a fruit in paradise, another one grows in its place. Allah said, afterwards, and on couches, raised high. Meaning, high, soft and comfortable. Allah said, verily, we have created them a special creation. And made them virgins. Urub, a trab, for those on the right. The ayat describe the women who will be on the beds and couches, but since mentioning the beds hints to them, they were not directly mentioned. For instance, Allah said that Sulayman said, when there were displayed before him, in the afternoon, well-trained horses of the highest breed. He said, I did love the good instead of remembering my Lord, till the time was over, and it had hidden in the veil of night. 38, 31-32 Tawarat refers to the sun setting, according to the scholars of Tafseer. Al-Akfash said that ayah, verily, we have created them, implied the maidens of paradise although it did not mention them directly. At Tabari 23, 118 Abu Ubaidah said that they were mentioned before in Allah's statement, and her fair females with wide lovely eyes, like preserved pearls. At Tabari 23, 118 Therefore, Allah's statement, verily, we have created them, meaning, in the other life, after they became old in this life, they were brought back while virgin, youthful, being delightfully passionate with their husbands, beautiful, kind and cheerful. Abu Dawud at-Tayalisi recorded that Anas said that the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, in paradise, the believer will be given such and such strength for women. Anas said, I asked, O Allah's Messenger, will one be able to do that? He said, he will be given the strength of 100 men. At-Tirmidhi also recorded it and said, Sahih Garib. Tufat al-Awadi 7, 241 Abu al-Qasim at-Tabarani recorded that Abu Hurairah said that the Messenger of Allah was asked, O Allah's Messenger, will we have sexual intercourse with our wives in paradise? He said, the man will be able to have sexual intercourse with 100 virgins in one day. At-Tabarani in As-Sagir 2, 68. Al-Hafiz Abu Abdullah al-Maqdisi said, in my view, this hadith meets the criteria of the Sahih, and Allah knows best. Allah's statement, Urub, said bin Jubair reported that Ibn Abbas said, they are in an infatuated state with their husbands, haven't you ever seen a she-camel in heat? She is like that. Ad-Dawq reported from Ibn Abbas who said, the Urub and their husbands are their sweethearts, and they are their husbands, sweethearts. Ad-Dur al-Manthur 816 similar was said by Abdullah bin Sarjis, Mujahid, Ikrimah, Abu al-Aliyah, Yahya bin Abi Kathir, Adiyah, al-Hasan, Qatada, Ad-Dawq and others. At Tabari 23, 121 Ad-Dawq reported from Ibn Abbas. A trab, means, they will be of one age, 33 years old. Ad-Dur al-Manthur 816 Mujahid said, equal age. And in a different narration, similar age. At Tabari 23-24 Adiyah said, comparative. Allah said, for those on the right, meaning, these women were created, kept or given in marriage to those on the right. It appears that the meaning here is that they were created for those on the right side, because Allah said, verily, we have created them a special creation. And made them virgins. Urub, a trab, for those on the right. This is the view of Ibn Jarir. It is possible that Allah's statement, for those on the right, refers to the description that came just before, a trab. For those on the right, meaning, in their age. Al-Bukhari and Muslim recorded that Abu Hurairah said that the Messenger of Allah said, the first group to enter paradise will be shining like the moon when it is full. The next group will be like the most radiant planet in the sky. They will not urinate, relieve nature, spit or blow their noses. Their combs will be of gold and their sweat of musk, and censers of aloeswood will be used. Their wives will be from al-Hur al-Ain. Their shape will be similar to each other, the shape of their father Adam, 60 cubits high in the sky. Fath al-Bari 6, 417, Muslim 4, 2179. Allah's statement, a multitude of those will be from the first generation. And a multitude of those will be from the later generations, means, a multitude of those on the right will come from the earlier generations and a multitude from the latter generations. Ibn Abi Hatim recorded that Abdullah bin Masud said, "We were with the Prophet one night and in the next morning we went to him and he said, some prophets and their nations were displayed before me. A prophet would pass in front of me with a group of men, and another with 3 men, and another with nobody with him." Qatada, one of the narrators of the hadith, then recited this ayah, "Is there not among you a single right-minded man?" 11:78 Until Musa, son of Imran passed me, with a great crowd from the children of Israel. So he said. So, I asked my Lord, who is this? He said, this is your brother Musa, son of Imran, and those who followed him among the children of Israel. I said, O Lord, where is my ummah? Allah said, look to your right on the hill, and I looked and saw faces of men. Allah said, are you pleased? And I said, I am pleased, O Lord. Allah said, look to the horizon to your left, and I saw faces of men. He again asked, are you pleased? And I said, I am pleased, O Lord. He said, and with them are 70,000 who will enter paradise without reckoning. Uqasha bin Misan from Bani Asad, one of those who participated in the Battle of Badr, said, O Allah's Messenger, invoke Allah to make me one of them. The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, O Allah, make him one of them. Another man said, O Allah's Messenger, invoke Allah to make me one of them. The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, Uqasha beat you to it. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, therefore, may I sacrifice my father and mother for you. Try to be among the 70,000s or among the crowds on the right, or the crowds that covered the side of the horizon, because I saw large crowds gathering on that side. He continued, I hope that you will be a fourth of the people of paradise.